Various activities are essential elements of the learning outcomes that a student must achieve. Students also perform them in learning activities that improve learning results. However, the success of the learning activity depends on how much the student is engaged in the learning activity, how much the activity addresses learning personal characteristics and needs, and not just the learning outcomes. There are various strategies of learner engagement that an instructional designer should keep in mind when developing learning activities. I am an instructor in the learning module Foundations of Online Learning. It is the first part of an open online program designed to support in implementing MOOCs and MOOCs-based study program. Therefore, by completing the module, you should be able to design a student-centered and online learning course for MOOC implementation that aims to develop the learner's competence through a variety of learning activities, learner monitoring, and assessment. And the third lesson of the module is designed to develop the knowledge of strategies for fostering learners' engagement and active participation. This knowledge is required for the relevant skill that is developed in the practical assignment of the module. Learning theories are the foundation for designing instructional solutions to achieve desired learning outcomes. There are three basic learning theories, are not primary and unique. They have roots that extend and into the part and address the ideas where this knowledge came from and how to do people learn, because behaviorism is dominant. When instructional theory was initiated, the instructional design theory was naturally influenced by many behavioral assumptions and characteristics. The cognitivism is more advanced theory because it addresses not simply the change in behavior, but also the change in behavior as an indicator to what is doing the learner had. Nevertheless, one of the most important aspects nowadays competencies is problem solving. As learning theory, it is used to create a unique and individual learning process for each learner. Another learning theory, such as cognitivism, is the first theory that defines learning as more than an internal and individual process. Learning takes place when learners make connections between ideas located throughout personal learning networks with other individuals on internet, between databases, and the social media learning management systems as well. Different teaching and learning methods can be used for each learning theory. There are only a few examples in this slide that can help to decide which learning strategies to use. In doing so, it is important to consider the level of knowledge of the learners, the thorough processing demands, and the desired outcomes. Active and interactive learning activities help to promote the learning processes the most. This is the base of the constructivism learning theory. Therefore, in order to engage learners at least individual meta-learning activity, or better still, collaborative and group learning activities should be used. Keeping learners motivated and engaged is no less important than understanding how they learn best. There are several motivational theories, but the ARCS model is one of the more commonly emphasized. According to the model, it is important to gain the learner's attention first and to show the relevance of intended knowledge. The next two steps of the model emphasize the leader teaching strategy, according to which learning activities should start with simpler ones and be motivated to perform more complex ones. And one of the important aspects for satisfaction is constructive feedback. Once a learner attempts to guide, the instructor of instructional design should try to keep the learners engaged. Flow is an engagement theory that emphasizes that flow trends to happen when someone is engaged in activity they have. The components of flow are defined, but not all have to happen to flow to occur. To create flow for learners, designers should allow some choice of activity to build and on the learner's strengths and interests. In conclusion, it is important to say that most of learner motivation and engagement theories emphasize several and doubt strategies. Nothing helps motivate learners in this way as the relevance of knowledge and skill. Therefore, the relevance of each learning activity should be clear or introduced. Learning objectives and outcomes help to structure learning and keep learner concentration. Only interactive or collaborative learning activities make active learning. Finally, small victories in well-planned learning activities give self-confidence, and their constructive feedback helps the learner to remain in the learning process. Thank you for watching, and please take the quiz of the lesson.